10 authors who may be the next Stephen King. Welcome to Next Chapter Audio. Today we're diving into the spine-tingling future of horror fiction. While Stephen King has reigned as the undisputed master of scares, there's a new wave of terrifying talent rising to the challenge. From bone-chilling thrillers to dark psychological tales, these 10 authors might just be the ones to keep horror fans up at night when King eventually passes the torch. If you're a fan of heart-stopping horror, stay tuned to discover which authors are bringing nightmares to the next generation of readers. Stephen King is and has been the king of horror for decades. With a legacy built on works like Carrie, It, The Shining, and Pet Sematary, he's crafted terrifying worlds for millions of readers. But at 75, the inevitable question looms: who could step up to his legendary throne? Here's a list of 10 authors who have already shaken the foundations of horror fiction and may just carry on King's legacy. Number 10. Stephen Graham Jones. Stephen Graham Jones is a must-read for fans of horror that doesn't just haunt but challenges the mind. Known for groundbreaking novels like Mongrels, Night of the Mannequins, The Only Good Indians, Attack of the 50-Foot Indian, and My Heart is a Chainsaw, Jones has carved out a unique space in modern horror. His work blends visceral scares with cultural themes, adding depth to the terror and making his stories linger long after the final page. Born in Texas and a member of the Blackfoot Native American tribe, Jones brings a fresh and layered perspective to the genre. He's known for exploring identity, trauma, and the chilling presence of the past. Prolific and deeply committed to his craft, Jones has published 22 novels, all before the age of 50. His latest release, The Babysitter Lives, has garnered significant praise, even catching the attention of Stephen King himself. King described the novel as perfect for audio, as really scary stories always are, and this one is really scary. Perfect for a long car ride, especially when you're almost out of gas, and you start wondering if maybe someone has gotten into the back seat and will lurch into the rearview mirror. With his innovative storytelling and commitment to evolving the horror genre, Stephen Graham Jones is one of the leading contenders to carry on Stephen King's legacy, creating nightmares that speak to the modern age. Number 9. Joe Hill. When it comes to second-generation authors, few have stepped out of a parent's shadow as successfully as Joe Hill. The son of Stephen King, Hill, born Joseph Hillstrom King, has shown that he's not just following in his father's footsteps, he's forging his own path. Hill made a deliberate choice to write under a pseudonym to avoid the weight of being Stephen King's son, a decision that allowed him to develop his own voice and unique style. For nearly a decade, he managed to keep his family connection a secret, winning readers and awards on his own merit before his lineage was publicly known. Hill's work ranges across horror, dark fantasy, and suspense, showing both a reverence for and innovation in the genres that his father popularized. His breakout collection of short stories, 20th Century Ghosts, immediately caught readers' attention, offering tales that blend the uncanny with the deeply human. From this beginning, Hill's distinct narrative style was clear. In Horns, he delved into themes of morality, guilt, and vengeance in the twisted story of a man who grows horns and gains supernatural powers after being falsely accused of his girlfriend's murder. With a darkly comedic edge, Horns became a modern classic, even adapted into a feature film starring Daniel Radcliffe. Hill's 2013 novel, NOS4A2, is one of his most celebrated works. It follows the terrifying Charles Manx, a villain who uses a supernatural Rolls-Royce Wraith to abduct children and bring them to a twisted place called Christmas Land. The novel seamlessly blends psychological horror with supernatural terror, and Hill's storytelling and character building were met with critical acclaim. NOS4A2 was adapted into a series by AMC, bringing Hill's terrifying vision to life and introducing his writing to an even wider audience. In addition, Hill's graphic novel series Locke and Key, co-created with artist Gabriel Rodriguez, tells the haunting story of a family haunted by supernatural forces within their ancestral home. The series became a hit on Netflix, cementing Hill's place as a genre-defining author in his own right. Beyond his high-profile adaptations and novels, Hill has collected numerous literary accolades, including the Bram Stoker Award, a fitting nod for the son of horror's reigning king. His novel, The Fireman, which combines elements of horror with dystopian thriller, tackles a plague that causes people to combust spontaneously. In this chilling narrative, Hill explores themes of survival, community, and the thin line between chaos and compassion, proving that he's more than capable of diving into horror's most challenging themes with a fresh perspective. Joe Hill's work shows that he's not just carrying the torch, he's adding his own fuel to the fire. His blend of character-driven horror, dark humor, and genuine emotion creates narratives that resonate deeply with readers. Though comparisons to Stephen King are inevitable, Hill has carved a unique place for himself in the literary world, proving that he's not just following a legacy, but actively building one of his own. In the race to be horror's next king, Joe Hill might just be sitting on the throne already. Number 8. Grady Hendrix. Grady Hendrix is a rising star in the horror genre with a unique style that blends humor, horror, and a deep love for classic scares. A self-proclaimed Stephen King enthusiast, Hendrix once admitted he's read all of King's works at least once, a feat few can claim. His journey to horror stardom began with Horrorster, a novel that made waves for its inventive concept, a haunted IKEA-style furniture store. Complete with a catalog-inspired layout, Horrorstore delivered both scares and satire, capturing readers with its originality and dark humor. Hendrix's career took off from there, and he quickly became known for his penchant for long, tongue-in-cheek titles that belie the chilling tales within. His The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires tells the story of a group of Southern housewives who band together to protect their community from a monstrous outsider, blending Southern Gothic horror with social commentary. This breakout book resonated with readers for its mix of horror, humor, and homage to 90s nostalgia. With a strong reader base and critical acclaim, the book is now in the process of being adapted for television. Another one of Hendrix's works, The Final Girl Support Group, tackles the beloved slasher genre, focusing on the lives of final girls, the last women standing in horror films, who now attend a support group for survivors. Hendrix takes this classic trope and twists it into a tense emotional story that sheds light on trauma, resilience, and survival, while paying tribute to horror cinema. It's another work that has caught the attention of Hollywood, with plans for an adaptation in the works. Hendrix's latest novel, How to Sell a Haunted House, released in early 2023, dives into the classic haunted house genre, but with his signature twist. It explores the haunting grip of family ties and the way unresolved traumas from the past can take on a life of their own. His take on the genre is fresh and compelling, drawing on deeply relatable themes that resonate beyond the horror. In addition to his novels, Hendrix is a seasoned film critic and author of Paperbacks from Hell, a non-fiction book that explores the horror paperback boom of the 70s and 80s. His love for horror history and his skill as a storyteller have solidified his reputation as an author who not only understands horror but deeply respects its roots. Grady Hendrix brings both a deep knowledge of the genre and an inventive approach to horror storytelling that has set him apart. With his distinctive blend of humor, terror, and nostalgia, he's a name that's quickly becoming synonymous with contemporary horror. And for many fans, one of the genre's best bets to carry on King's legacy. Number 7. Tananarive Due. Tananarive is a powerful voice in horror, blending supernatural thrills with deep explorations of cultural and personal identity. She first made waves in the 1990s with The Living Blood, a novel that won the American Book Award and established her as a pioneering figure in the horror genre. This novel also launched her African Immortals series, beginning with My Soul to Keep and ending with My Soul to Take, which explores themes of immortality, legacy, and spirituality through an African lens. Du's work brings a unique and essential perspective to horror, merging historical and social themes with supernatural elements to create stories that are both haunting and thought-provoking. A fierce advocate for diversity in horror, Du was prominently featured in Horror Noir, A History of Black Horror, a 2019 Shudder documentary that examines the contributions and impact of Black creators in horror. Her insights in horror noir showcase her deep knowledge and passion for the genre and the ways horror can be used to address social issues, trauma, and resilience. As a scholar and storyteller, Du's perspective is unique, emphasizing horror's potential to explore and heal generational trauma. Du's influence extends beyond her novels. At UCLA, she teaches a course on Black horror, diving into iconic films like Jordan Peele's Get Out and analyzing how horror reflects and critiques racial realities. She and her husband, author Stephen Barnes, also collaborated with Peele's team to write A Small Town, an episode of the rebooted Twilight Zone. Du's understanding of horror is not just limited to novels. She applies her knowledge to multiple media, influencing the genre on a broad scale. Twice nominated for the Bram Stoker Award, Du's work is both critically acclaimed and deeply influential. She has mastered the ability to write horror that resonates emotionally, tapping into universal fears and specific cultural experiences with equal precision. For readers and fans of horror, Tananarive offers narratives that go beyond traditional scares, focusing on character-driven, culturally rich stories that resonate on multiple levels. With her unique voice, passion for exploring underrepresented stories, and deep-rooted commitment to the genre, Du stands as a formidable contender in contemporary horror. Her works are not just books to read, but experiences that challenge, educate, and leave a lasting impact, qualities that make her a natural successor to Stephen King in the evolving landscape of horror. Number 6. Neil Gaiman. Neil Gaiman's name is synonymous with the magic and mystery of contemporary dark fantasy. With a style that fluidly bridges the gap between horror and fantasy, Gaiman has crafted an array of chilling and captivating stories that have earned him a massive fan base and critical acclaim across the literary and entertainment worlds. His influence on modern horror and fantasy is profound, his works possessing an eerie quality that can unsettle readers of all ages. One of his most memorable contributions to the horror genre is Coraline, a novel for young readers that left an indelible mark on children's literature and introduced horror to a younger audience. The story of a young girl discovering a creepy parallel world behind a locked door, Coraline became a gateway for many into the genre. The 2009 animated film adaptation cemented its status, haunting viewers with its visual depiction of the other mother and her world of button-eyed doppelgangers. It's a story that continues to resonate and proves that horror can be sophisticated and impactful at any age. The Graveyard Book, another of Gaiman's acclaimed works, has won numerous awards, including both the Newbery and Carnegie Medals, a unique achievement that showcases Gaiman's talent for blending the macabre with a sense of wonder. Inspired by The Jungle Book, this story follows an orphaned boy raised by ghosts in a graveyard. The novel is a coming-of-age tale wrapped in horror and fantasy, with hauntingly beautiful prose that draws readers into its shadowy setting. Gaiman's mastery of voice and setting makes the Graveyard Book an enduring favorite for readers of all ages. But Gaiman's legacy extends far beyond novels. His iconic comic series The Sandman, currently topping Netflix charts, is a monumental work in horror fantasy. It weaves mythology, dreams, and nightmares into a dark, richly layered narrative that has captivated audiences for decades. The Sandman explores themes of destiny, mortality, and the supernatural with a depth and complexity that's rare in any genre. The series' recent adaptation has introduced a new generation to Gaiman's world of the endless, further solidifying his reputation as a master of the macabre. Gaiman's work isn't confined to horror. He's also written across various genres, from the satirical fantasy of Good Omens to the mythical odyssey of American gods. His versatility and creativity have led Hollywood to adapt numerous works for the screen, including Stardust, Coraline, Good Omens, and American Gods. Each adaptation brings new fans to his work, spreading his influence even further. Gaiman has even dabbled in voice acting, lending his talents to The Simpsons in a Treehouse of Horror episode, adding a personal touch to his love of Halloween. Beyond his writing, Gaiman is an advocate for horror and literacy. His All Hallows Read initiative invites readers to gift a scary book to someone each Halloween, encouraging the sharing of spooky stories and promoting literacy in a way that aligns perfectly with his persona. Gaiman's public service announcement for All Hallows Read is a testament to his dedication to both horror and community, showing that he's as much a part of the Halloween spirit as any of his tales. Neil Gaiman's work continues to inspire, thrill, and unnerve readers worldwide. His unique blend of dark fantasy, horror, and whimsy has earned him a place as one of the most influential writers of our time, a creator who understands how to enchant, frighten, and captivate, leaving readers wanting more. In the ever-evolving world of horror, Gaiman's legacy endures, making him a fitting successor to the throne in the lineage of dark storytelling. Number 5. Alma Katsu. Alma Katsu's talent for blending history and horror has earned her a well-deserved place among the most exciting contemporary authors in the genre. Known for reimagining real-life historical tragedies with a supernatural twist, Katsu's work delves into the eerie side of human nature while exploring the dark corners of the past. Her novel, The Hunger, a bone-chilling reimagining of the infamous Donner Party, brings readers face-to-face with the unimaginable horrors lurking within both humanity and the wilderness. Katsu's approach in The Hunger isn't just to recount the haunting story of settlers trapped in the Sierra Nevada mountains. She infuses the tale with an otherworldly evil that leaves readers questioning where human desperation ends and supernatural terror begins. Her writing strikes a perfect balance between historical detail and psychological horror, immersing readers in a nightmare that feels disturbingly real. By weaving evil into an already tragic historical event, Katsu elevates the narrative to something profoundly unsettling and thought-provoking, proving that she is a master at creating horror that lingers long after the book is closed. Building on her unique brand of historical horror, Katsu continued to explore real-world traumas in her subsequent novels. The Deep takes readers on a terrifying journey aboard the Titanic, blending the doomed voyage with supernatural suspense. Through chilling atmosphere and meticulously researched detail, Katsu taps into the claustrophobic dread of being trapped on an ill-fated ship, creating a sense of inevitable doom that's both historically grounded and deeply horrifying. The Deep showcases Katsu's ability to turn well-known events into dark, twisted tales that reimagine history itself as a source of terror. Katsu's writing doesn't stop at historical fiction. Her Taker trilogy, which includes The Taker, The Reckoning, and The Descent, ventures into a Faustian tale of immortality, love, and betrayal. In this trilogy, Katsu takes readers on a morally complex journey filled with forbidden desires and supernatural bargains, revealing her fascination with themes of ambition, consequence, and the darker side of the human soul. The Taker trilogy presents horror in a new light, showing how greed and desire can create monsters out of even the most ordinary people. Katsu's most recent novel, The Fervor, explores themes of paranoia and xenophobia in a horror story inspired by the Japanese internment camps of World War II. The novel dives into the supernatural consequences of prejudice and fear, bringing to life the real and imagined horrors that arise in moments of collective hysteria. The Fervor tackles these complex themes with nuance and sensitivity, proving that horror can be a vehicle for examining some of the darkest periods of human history. Through this haunting narrative, Katsu sheds light on the inhumanity of the camps, while exploring the supernatural elements that emerge from fear and superstition. Her accolades speak to her impact on the genre. She was a finalist for the Bram Stoker Award for Superior Achievement in a Novel and the Locus Award for Best Horror Novel, honors that highlight her talent and dedication to creating exceptional horror fiction. Katsu's ability to channel real human fear and suffering into her narratives has made her an indispensable voice in horror literature. By transforming historical events into psychological horror stories, she taps into universal fears, making her work resonate with readers on a profound level. Alma Katsu's unique blend of horror and historical fiction makes her one of the most inventive authors in the genre today. Her novels are more than just scary stories. They are explorations of humanity's darkest moments and deepest fears, layered with historical authenticity and supernatural terror. With each new release, Katsu demonstrates that the past is as frightening as any fictional horror, ensuring that her place in the future of horror literature is well secured. Number 4. Joyce Carol Oates. In the realm of dark fiction, Joyce Carol Oates stands as a giant, a masterful storyteller whose career spans over 6 decades and encompasses a breathtaking range of genres and forms. Known for her eerie, unsettling narratives, Oates has written 58 novels, hundreds of short stories, and numerous poems and essays, each imbued with her signature style, an intense, haunting quality that delves deep into the human psyche. With her boundless creativity and versatility, she has become one of the most respected figures in modern literature, with work appearing in renowned publications such as The New Yorker and Ellery Queen Mystery Magazine. Oates's influence on horror and psychological thriller genres cannot be overstated. Her 1995 novel, Zombie, a chilling exploration of a sociopath's mind, takes readers on a harrowing journey into the darkest recesses of human desire and violence. Inspired by the infamous Jeffrey Dahmer, Zombie doesn't rely on conventional scares or shock tactics. Instead, Oates masterfully crafts a narrative that unsettles readers by confronting them with the raw, horrifying thoughts of her protagonist. Her ability to present horror as an intrinsic part of the human experience, rather than relying on external monsters, sets her apart from most horror writers and gives her work a disturbing, almost philosophical quality. Oates's literary prowess goes beyond her forays into horror. Her novel, We Were the Mulvaneys, is a profound, haunting exploration of family trauma and resilience. Though not a horror story by genre, the novel addresses the psychological horror of a family slowly unraveling after a tragic event. Through meticulous detail and psychological depth, Oates examines the emotional and moral complexities of her characters, transforming a family drama into a tale as suspenseful and unsettling as any thriller. This versatility has allowed her to transcend genre boundaries, proving that horror can be found in the most ordinary aspects of life. As prolific as she is lauded, Oates' achievements include a staggering array of accolades. She has won multiple Bram Stoker Awards and been a 5-time Pulitzer Prize finalist, making her one of the most decorated writers in modern literature. Her ability to consistently produce high-quality work is a testament to her dedication to the craft and her unparalleled imagination. Oates' voice resonates through each story, short or long, maintaining her thematic focus on the fragility and resilience of the human spirit, often with a darkly psychological lens. Oates' upcoming release, Babysitter, set to hit bookstores in October 2022, has already generated significant buzz. A complex tale that blends thriller elements with social commentary, Babysitter promises to showcase Oates' unflinching exploration of violence and power. Readers familiar with her work can expect her signature intensity, woven into a narrative that examines moral ambiguity and societal expectations. As with many of her novels, Babysitter is likely to be a profound meditation on the human condition disguised as a psychological thriller, cementing her place as one of literature's most fearless and insightful voices. Whether writing about sociopathic killers, haunted families, or psychological trauma, Joyce Carol Oates continually proves that horror isn't limited to the supernatural. Her stories reveal the darkness within ordinary lives, holding a mirror up to society's deepest fears and most disturbing truths. With an illustrious career that spans everything from horror to literary fiction, Oates remains a beacon for aspiring horror writers and a master of exploring the unsettling side of humanity. Her works promise to be as timeless and haunting as anything penned by Stephen King, ensuring that her influence on the horror genre will continue for generations to come. Number 3. Chuck Palahniuk. Hailing from the shadowy reign of the Pacific Northwest, Chuck Palahniuk has carved out a unique place in horror and transgressive fiction, earning a cult following for his unflinching depictions of the darkest corners of the human psyche. Known for his experimental, edgy, and often unsettling storytelling, Palahniuk's work is marked by narrative twists that leave readers reeling and reflective long after they've closed the book. From the brutal societal satire in Fight Club, later adapted into the iconic film by David Fincher, to his chilling novels and short stories, Palahniuk has consistently proven that he's a master of keeping readers on edge. Though Fight Club catapulted him to literary stardom, Palahniuk's horror repertoire reveals his true dedication to unsettling his audience. His novels, Lullaby, Haunted, Damned, Adjustment Day, and Invisible Monsters delve into themes of death, existential dread, and societal decay, pulling readers into worlds where the line between sanity and madness is tantalizingly thin. In Lullaby, Palahniuk tells the story of a journalist who discovers a culling song that can kill anyone who hears it. The novel is not only a suspenseful horror story, but also a powerful examination of grief and the limits of human control. Haunted, a collection of interconnected short stories, pushes readers to their limits, especially with the infamous tale Guts, which has allegedly caused countless readers to faint. Palahniuk's writing is not merely horror for horror's sake. It's philosophical, thought-provoking, and often a dark commentary on society's collective fears and obsessions. His stories explore the macabre realities of contemporary culture, from the obsession with fame and consumerism to humanity's innate desire for control. Adjustment Day, for instance, reads like a chillingly prophetic take on political extremes, envisioning a dystopian society in which citizens engage in a horrifying day of social reckoning. His work often reflects a satirical yet sobering view of modern life, where horror is rooted not only in monstrous acts, but also in the frightening elements of society itself. Palahniuk's short stories are just as iconic, with titles like Cannibal, Zombie, Phoenix, and Guts, pushing the limits of horror and audience endurance. Guts stands out for its visceral storytelling, narrated in a way that evokes both fascination and horror. He performs live readings of this story, and it's rumored to have caused more readers to faint than any other short story. These short stories aren't mere entertainment. They're designed to shock, provoke, and question the comfortable boundaries of literature. What truly sets Palahniuk apart is his ability to make readers confront their own fears and moral ambiguities. His works are horror in the sense that they disturb, but they also provoke thought about the nature of fear, societal expectations, and individual identity. Each book is an experience, an invitation to explore the limits of discomfort and the power of confronting the unspoken taboos. Whether it's through the raw brutality of Fight Club, the bone-chilling horror of Haunted, or the surreal world of Adjustment Day, Chuck Palahniuk has solidified his place as a revolutionary voice in modern horror and dark fiction. With his fearless approach to storytelling, he remains one of the most boundary-pushing writers in contemporary literature. A fitting contender for the throne once held by King. Number 2. Silvia Moreno-Garcia. Silvia Moreno-Garcia has quickly become one of the most intriguing and versatile voices in horror and speculative fiction. Born in Mexico and bringing a unique blend of cultural folklore, lush settings, and psychological suspense to her work, Moreno-Garcia has captivated readers across the globe. Her literary breakout, Mexican Gothic, hit shelves during the pandemic, and despite the world's turmoil, it found a place on the New York Times bestseller list, earning Moreno-Garcia a Bram Stoker Award nomination and placing her firmly on the radar of horror fans and critics alike. Mexican Gothic is a modern Gothic masterpiece, a psychological horror novel set in 1950s Mexico. The story follows Noemi Taboada, a glamorous young socialite who ventures to a remote and decrepit mansion to rescue her cousin from a toxic marriage and uncovers a disturbing centuries-old evil lurking within its walls. The novel masterfully blends Mexican culture, folklore, and Gothic horror, all while tackling themes of colonialism, patriarchy, and the power dynamics between genders and classes. With its hypnotic prose and atmospheric storytelling, Mexican Gothic feels both hauntingly modern and reminiscent of classic horror literature, drawing comparisons to works by Shirley Jackson and Daphne du Maurier. Moreno-Garcia's versatility shines through in her other acclaimed novels as well. In Velvet Was the Night, she trades horror for noir, set against the backdrop of 1970s Mexico City. The novel introduces readers to a cast of morally complex characters embroiled in political intrigue and espionage, showing her deft hand at building tension and developing complex emotional landscapes. Her fantasy work, Gods of Jade and Shadow, is a dazzling mix of Mayan mythology and jazz-age adventure, a refreshing and culturally rich narrative that captivated readers and won several awards. These works demonstrate her knack for seamlessly moving between genres while bringing a fresh perspective that's deeply rooted in her heritage. Another standout in her collection, The Daughter of Dr. Moreau, reimagines H.G. Wells' The Island of Dr. Moreau with a distinctly Mexican twist. Set in 19th-century Yucatan, Moreno-Garcia paints a lush, haunting tale of a young woman's journey of self-discovery amid the eerie experiments and ambitions of her father, the infamous Dr. Moreau. This novel combines her signature talent for eerie, atmospheric prose with historical and speculative elements, weaving themes of science, colonization, and humanity's hubris into a haunting narrative. Silvia Moreno-Garcia's storytelling is grounded in her ability to make the supernatural feel real and to intertwine horror with cultural narratives that often go overlooked in mainstream literature. With every release, she continues to push boundaries, challenging readers to reconsider the horror genre's potential. Her work doesn't rely on jump scares or shock value. Instead, it draws readers into an immersive, deeply unsettling world, where the psychological horror is intertwined with rich cultural elements, creating a blend that is entirely her own. As she continues to explore various genres and craft new narratives, Silvia Moreno-Garcia remains a standout contender in modern horror. Her dedication to bringing diverse voices and settings to the forefront is helping shape the future of horror, making her a worthy successor to the horror throne, while adding a distinctive style that is hers alone.
Number 1. Josh Malerman. Topping our list is the New York Times best-selling author Josh Malerman, a modern master of psychological horror and suspense. Known for his runaway hit Bird Box, Malerman transformed his chilling tale of survival into a cultural phenomenon. The novel was adapted into a wildly popular Netflix film in 2018, drawing over 45 million viewers and inspiring countless internet memes and discussions about what lies in the shadows. Bird Box is a uniquely terrifying story that combines survival with the unknown. Set in a world where unseen entities drive people to madness and violence upon sight, the novel follows protagonist Mallory and her 2 young children as they navigate a post-apocalyptic world blindfolded. Malerman's writing plunges readers into intense psychological terror, creating an atmosphere where fear is felt as much as seen. The novel's success led him to write Mallory, a sequel that delves even deeper into the enigmatic world he created, adding new layers to the story that originally captivated readers. But Malerman's talents aren't confined to a single hit. His other novels, including Goblin and Unbury Carol, further showcase his creativity and versatility within the horror genre. Goblin is a collection of 6 interconnected novellas, all set in a town as eerie and mysterious as the characters that inhabit it. From tales of haunted statues to harrowing encounters with the dead, Goblin reveals Malerman's ability to weave together unsettling narratives, each one casting a unique light on fear and the supernatural. His most recent novel, Daphne, released in September 2022, reimagines the slasher genre with a fresh twist. Set against the backdrop of a high school basketball team, Daphne follows a group of teens haunted by the brutal legend of a towering, enigmatic woman. Malerman reinvents the slasher archetype, adding psychological depth and a terrifying mystery that lingers long after the book is closed. Malerman's prose is as unsettling as the worlds he builds, precise yet atmospheric with a pacing that keeps readers on edge. His stories often explore the fragility of the human psyche, testing his characters' courage against insurmountable odds and fears rooted as much in the mind as in reality. His works stand out for their layered narratives and ability to play with readers' expectations, leaving them questioning what they would do in his character's place. Josh Malerman continues to redefine horror for the modern age, taking the genre beyond mere scares to explore complex human emotions and fears. His work not only evokes terror but also encourages readers to think deeply about the unknown, isolation, and survival in ways that push the boundaries of horror literature. Thanks for joining us on this chilling journey through horror's next generation on Next Chapter Audio. We hope you found some new authors to add to your reading list, or perhaps even to keep you up at night. If you enjoyed today's exploration, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our next deep dive into thrilling narratives. Comment below to tell us which author you're most excited to read or who you think could be the next king of horror. Until next time, keep your lights on and your books close. And let's turn the page together on Next Chapter Audio.